From Florida, Mr. Posey.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Questions for each member of the panel. Are you aware of any destruction of the United States supply of RU-238 in the past?
I'm going to defer to my colleague from Department of Energy.
Sir, I'm not aware of any destruction of PU-238.
Anyone else hear any rumors of it at all? Okay. In 2004, we had Dr. Jim Green, director of NASA Planetary Science Division here, and he indicated there was absolutely no problem whatsoever with future supplies of RU-238. And Mr. Schurr, you've kind of indicated the same thing, but the Inspector General leads me to believe there might be a problem with it. What's the deal here?
I think what we were trying to convey in our report was more that there was a limiting factor. The PU-238 was a limiting factor in the early part of this decade. That, coupled with a lot of really significant overruns on planetary science missions, I think limited even the number of missions that planetary science could undertake, let alone the ones that would need PU-238. Right now, based on the development of new PU-238, blended with the old, the needs are met in the near term. Our report tries to convey the fact that if this new supply of PU-238 isn't established and the goals aren't met by DOE, then it could become a limiting factor again in the future.
Well, I would think, it's common sense, that if we know we're going to need more in the future, we would have some plan, some coordination between NASA and DOE to furnish a supply or produce a supply. And the information that I seem to be getting is there really is no firm coordination or agreements or efforts to do that at this point.
I think I'd say it a little bit differently. In 2012, we kicked off with the Department of Energy a restart of the plutonium production project. So we've been investing since 2012.
Okay, now bring me up to date on that. Where's that progressed to? At what point are you in then?
We've now produced up to 200 grams.
We produced 100 grams,
100 grams
of new material. We have a second campaign underway that should end this fall. That's going to produce approximately the same amount of material. And we are continuing our efforts to reestablish our infrastructure and our pipeline to produce the rates that NASA requires to support their mission activities.
And does NASA's request take into consideration maybe a loss of a launch and might need to replace that?
Not specifically, but since the only firm mission that's on our books right now is the Mars 2020 mission, we clearly would have the ability to replace one MMRTG's worth of fuel if we were asked to do so.
Well, I've heard the date, the 35 that we have now potentially being utilized by 2025. Is that correct?
About half of that could be used by 2025. The other half needs the blending of the new material and would cover our needs through at least 2030.
And beyond 2030?
We would need the new production that's coming online, which should be to full operational capability by 2025. And at that point, we're already starting the discussions about whether we want to raise the rate if we need it for future forecasts.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.